kitchen when we do the I'm So Blessed song. I get to hear Steve's voice, and it just kind of like takes me to, I want to go sit by a pond or a lake somewhere. I'm not, my enthusiasm has just drained right on out. But I am really glad to be here again once more. And the topic, aging. Aging is not for cowards. It's a spiritual journey. Now, I thought that was a pretty cool little title. I don't know about y'all, but I just thought that was kind of cool, okay? Now, I want to make sure that you know how it came about, okay? Because it didn't have anything to do with today's politics. So it wasn't anything like that, okay? And it's not like I looked out and imagined that I was going to be talking to a whole bunch of gray-haired people or nothing like that. Nothing like that occurred, okay? What really happened is Reverend Ann, she is very, very well organized. And Reverend Ann always gives me plenty of time to come up with the subject that I'm going to talk about, the description, update the bio, all of that kind of stuff. And so she had asked me way back in May to get all that information together and gave me a due date. I think it was June 7th or whatever. But May was just a really tough time for me, and things were going on with family and friends. And I got brothers and sisters who have health issues. My stepmother, we celebrated her first birthday after she had passed a year ago. My birth mother turned 95, and we were so involved with my brothers and sisters' cancers that we just about forgot to celebrate her birthday. It was just a wild, kind of crazy time. And I found myself out of town at a rest stop, and I was checking my email, and I said, oh, shoot, I had one of those friendly reminders from Reverend Ann. It was a friendly reminder that I had not done my part and sent her the subject matter that I was going to talk about. I said, oh my gosh, now I'm away from home, I'm away from my laptop, all of my little tools and stuff, and I've got to do something. And I'm at the rest stop, so I pull over in the car and I sit there and I start to meditate and think, what do I have to share with people? What might they want to hear from me? And nothing came up. I mean, I didn't get a thing. And I tried a little bit more, and nothing still came up. So I decided, well, I would change the way I asked the question. And I started thinking about, well, what would I like to hear? What would I need to know? What kind of things were bothering me? Because what I found out is, well, I know a couple of things about myself. One, if I'm going to speak, I'm going to do a whole bunch of research and a whole bunch of digging on whatever the subject is, and that means I'm going to focus on it, and it's going to probably apply to me more than it even applies to the audience. So I'm going to get more out of it than even you get out of it. And what I was struggling with then was age, aging. People dying and getting older, all that crazy stuff, I went to my mom, and I asked my mom, she was just about to turn 95. I said, Mom, how do you deal with this stuff? Somebody's been dying every week, every other day. They're sick. Something's always going on. And Mom was kind of cool. She just said, Michael, one, if you're born, you're going to die. And that's just how this stuff works. And then two, if you got a lot of friends. And if you know a lot of people and you have a lot of friends, that means you're going to have a lot of people who die. And they're going to have relatives, so that's going to be a part of it. And that's just how this thing goes. And I thought about it, and I said, well, if nothing else, Mom has a good point. And I always say that if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. So I decided that I needed to change the way I looked at age, the way I looked at this whole thing that all of us are going through. Now, the good thing about the subject was I figured it would apply to everybody because everybody ages. And I know everybody has some of the same ups and downs. So, hey, I said, I think I'm going to work with that one. Aging, it's not for cowards. It's a spiritual journey. Now, the first place I went to go find out about anything about aging was, of course, the place that you would go if you're going to speak on Sunday, right? You can guess, right? I went to the Bible. I went to see, well, what did the Bible have to say about aging? Maybe I could get some really good stuff, to share. And the Bible just really kind of confused me, guys. I'll just be honest with you. It didn't quite solve all my problems, The first thing, I started at the very beginning of the Bible. I started up there at Genesis, and I started reading about aging, and then people lived a long time. I mean, like a long, long, long time. There was a guy named Methuselah. He lived to be 969 years old. I said, oh, my gosh. Adam got 950 years in. Noah, 930 years. Two of Adam's sons lived to be 900 years old. These people lived a long, long time. And it's like, whoa, I don't know about this stuff, you know. Now, I'll tell you a little secret, though, you know. It's always not so great to live a long, long time. When I was reading what these biblical scholars said about people living that long back in the day, well, what they said was, one was that Noah lived to be in his 900 some odd years old. He was like 200 or 300 years old before he even started messing around building the ark. And it still took him another 100 years to build the ark. And he lived for 200 more years after the ark. Can you imagine that? See, that's why I'm going to tell you right off. Everything I know about spirituality and philosophy, those kind of things, always a paradox. There's always two sides of it. A good side, a bad side, a negative, a positive. There's always two sides of it. And that one side about that living to be 900 some odd years old, well, that could be kind of cool. But you know, if you live forever, if you got to live that long, you're not going to do too much because you can always do it tomorrow. I'll get it done tomorrow. There's no big rush. We can get it tomorrow. You know, and I'm sure that's what Noah was doing with that ark. He had 100 years to build the ark. Well, I'll get it done tomorrow. You know, so there's some good things about not living forever, okay? But back in that Old Testament in Genesis, I mean, I was just astounded. Now, the biblical scholars say that what happened was God got kind of upset with what people were doing, you know, and he came in and washed all that stuff out with the flood. And after the flood, we don't get that long longevity stuff no more, okay? Nobody lives to be 900, 800 years old anymore. Now, by the time we get to King David's time, you know, when he's writing the Psalms, in Psalms, the 90th chapter, the 10th verse, he wrote something about we get 70. So we've come a long way from that 900 down to just, you know, 70 years. But then that was considered a good deal. 70, you know? My dad used to always repeat that. He said, Michael, if I can just live to 70, I would have got everything God meant for me to have. And my dad lived to be 75. He thought he had 5 good years of gravy, you know, because he got that extra time. The reality, though, is if you read the whole verse, at the end of that verse, it says that the righteous man gets another decade. That's another 10 years. You know, if Dad would have read that, we could have got another 5 years, and I would have appreciated that. But, you know, you got to read the whole verse. But that's what I mean about, you know, the Bible just didn't get it clear to me because even I know that, you know, back in biblical days, I'm not sure if everybody was living to be 70 years old. You know, that would have been a good long time. The reality is that it was in 1946, after World War II, that the United Kingdom came up with retirement age. And they decided that retirement age would be 65, okay? Now, it wasn't really that hard for them to come up with that age, okay? Because life expectancy in 1946 was, what do you think? 65, right? It was kind of like a cruel joke, you know? You'll work till 65, and now you can retire, and that's the end of your life, because that's life expectancy. You know? Now for us, you know, 60, 80 years later, we've improved on that life expectancy a great deal. You know, medical changes and all the things that we can do now so we can even live longer. So now the challenge gets to be, if you got a financial planner, they'll tell you, well, you might retire at 65, but will you have enough money to last for the rest of your life? Because you might live another 20, 30 years, and you might have to have enough for all that. Now, me, I worry about you might retire at 65 and not have enough enthusiasm, enough energy, enough spirit, enough drive, enough reason to keep getting up in the morning for the next 30 years of your life. And we could have just buried you a lot earlier, you know? So I'm interested in how can we make that spiritual journey as we get older and older. And really, age and all, it's, you guys, I can look around and tell, you've been around here for a while. We've all struggled with age all of our life because that's what it's all about. You know, we just change the way we look at it as we go through it. But at first, when you're 4 years old, you can't wait to be 5. I mean, it is a big deal to get to be 5, isn't it? And when you're 9 and you go into double digits and you're 10, oh man, and get to be a teenager, you know, then we get excited about being 18 or 19 because we can drive, we can buy guns, we can buy liquor, we can do all those things that go with being an adult, you know? And if you're a young male, you can't wait to be 25 and have the insurance rates come down on your car a little bit, you know? All those things come with our age. But we hit a spot somewhere in the 30s, 40s, or somewhere where we start talking about the, the big O and the big 3-0, the big 4-0, the big 5-0, and all of a sudden we begin to look at age differently. Our culture, Western culture, seems to have a negative outlook on aging. There are some cultures that look at that entirely different, where aging is an adventure. It's something to ponder. It's something to look forward to. But we're not like that. And by the time you get to your 30s and 40s, now you're starting to have to put your arms way out so that you can read the books and stuff, because your eyes are adjusting. You're starting to change the colors of your hair, and things are drooping where they didn't droop before, and you got wrinkles, and all things are starting to change. And then we get a negative attitude about it. We don't like ourselves just because of those physical things that are going on. But we can change how we look at that, and look at it differently. I heard this guy who said that he sees it as a gift. He was 50 years old, and now he had a little gray hair in his beard, and it's a little baldness and stuff, and wrinkles. And he said he saw it as a gift because he had gotten a chance to see his own evolution, to see how he had evolved. And everybody doesn't get that. Some people don't get a chance to see how they're going to look with wrinkles. Some people will never know how they'll look with gray hair or how they'll look when they get that little tilt when they walk. They just don't get to see it. And that's another way of looking at it, as a gift. It's like looking at your life in a photo album. You see yourself when you're little baby pictures and they got your little butt showing, all that kind of stuff. And then your grade school pictures with all your elementary friends, and your graduation pictures, your wedding pictures, all those pictures showing and reflecting your life. And you get a chance to see how you change. Now, we don't get excited about that kind of stuff because we live in a society that is so stuck on looking sexy, looking young, and looking vibrant and all that, that we don't see the benefits of even as we age. In our country, we spend $74 billion in anti-aging products and processes each year. Billions of dollars, enough to eradicate poverty in the country, enough to redo all the infrastructure in the company, just on liposuction, facelifts, creams, gels, all of that kind of stuff. Now, I have no problem with somebody who wants to look better or look their best, none of that. I'm just talking about your attitude about it and how you think about it. Is it a desperation thing that you have to get rid of that gray? Or can you find a way to look at getting older as a kind of cool thing? My intentions is to be the coolest old man out there, And what I've learned is that it comes from the inside, not just from the outside. It's from the inside how you live, from the inside how you act. That's what reflects back on the outside. We've all seen people that other folks might say is kind of ugly or kind of drab or kind of not doing it, but they've got an energy or they've got a light or something about them that just attracts people, that draws people. And then those of us as we mature, we find out that it's not always about how we look on the outside. It's how we feel about ourselves, how we look on the inside. That's what makes the difference. And if we don't learn how to live with that, then we're going to just have an ugly time. They say between now and 2050, twice as many people who are now over 60 will exist. There'll be 2 billion people on the planet over 60. And anybody born today, they say that they have a 50% chance. 50% of those people will end up being 100, 102, 103 years old. Now, that's pretty good. But if you don't know how to live during that time, then it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a waste of time. And I believe that the universe, God, whatever you call, says that, if you ain't doing nothing with your life, if you're just taking up space, we can check you out of here and put somebody else in that spot. I really do think that. So if you fool around and don't want to participate in life, don't want to be healthy, don't want to do the right things in your life, check you out. We'll get somebody else and fill that spot. Now, the thing is to be, what kinds of things can we do and should we do? And the first thing is obvious. We first notice aging and all that through our physicalness, how we age. That's what we notice. Can we still get up and down and squat and do all of those kinds of things? And I would suggest to you that no matter what age you are or where you are at in your health challenges, that you can always start today. You can always start now and can always improve. I've got an older brother that says a bad day of exercise is still a good day. You know, even if it's a bad day, it's still a good day. And taking care of our health, it's one of those things that, you know, I'd like to tell you guys that I did all this research and I found out there's a whole bunch of great new things you have to do if you want to age properly. But what I really found out is the same old stuff that we've been doing all of our life. Make sure that you sleep and get all your rest. Make sure that you eat right and get your exercise. Make sure that you have a purpose, a reason for getting up. You know, kids, their reason for getting up every morning is to play. Our reason for getting up used to be, at one time, was to go to work. And hopefully your work was just like play. But you need to have a reason, a purpose for your life. And if you do all those kind of things, it doesn't matter at what age, you'll have a good life. But whether you're 10, 15, 20, 60, 80, or 90, I've learned you still have to keep doing those things. See, some people think that it's just about your genes, you know, and you get lucky and have some good genes. Well, I've got good genes, okay? I'll tell you, I got good genes, okay? My mom is 95, and my mom is so active and so involved. Some of you have met my mom. I even told her today I'd be speaking over at the church today, but Mom had so much other stuff going on, okay? At her own church, they're having their church anniversary, and she's the oldest member of the church, and, you know, I can hear Michael some other time. I got things to do. And that's how she lives. She has things to do. At 95, she dresses herself. She lives by herself. She cooks by herself. She's in her right mind. She's still a mother, and it is hard to get old when your mother is still around. It is. It's difficult to be old when your mother is still around. And she does make it challenging, but I learned so much from her. You know, my mother is a health nut. She will go to the doctor, you hear me? She would take her stack of Medicaid cards and insurance cards and write down everything that might have went wrong and go in there. I went to the doctor with her one time, and this young guy, maybe in his 40s or so, he looked at Mom and said, Mom was in her early 90s or whatever. He said, you know, we quit doing colonoscopies in about 84, 85. Do you still think you want to have one? Well, my mom's got a little medical background, and she started looking at all this young boy's certificates and telling him about all his teachers and where he had learned and all the stuff that she knew. He decided that maybe he would change his mind and go talk to somebody else about what you should or should not do at that age, because obviously she knew something. See, I took my mom once. She went to go get a mammogram, okay? Now, my mom has about as much chest as I do, and she's 90-some years old. So I didn't know why she would need to be going to get a mammogram. Did not make any sense to me. But I've gotten a lot smarter now, see? I figure if Mom can get a chance to be 95, and I want to be 95, then I need to listen and watch what Mom's doing. And what she was teaching me is that we are always, always responsible for our health. We are always responsible for going and checking our stuff out. It doesn't get to be, oh, well, now I'm 70, I don't have to work out anymore. Now I'm 60, I don't have to have a purpose anymore. No, 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 no. You always have to be worried about your physical health on the spiritual journey. And if you do that, you will be surprised. I think one part about that Bible thing is right. Our bodies can do a whole lot more than what we think they can do if we just take care of them. I've got the good genes of my mom who lived to be 95 so far, okay? But I've got two brothers that came out of that exact same womb, okay? And they're suffering with cancer. One decided that he didn't want to eat vegetables and fruits all of his life. And Mom told us, see, I told you, that's what gets you. The other one decided he could smoke cigarettes like a chimney. And Mom told him, see, I told you. Now, fortunately, they're both still here, and we're doing much better and all that. But the point gets to be is that if you want a long, healthy life, you've got to do those healthy kind of things with your body. And not just physical, it's also in your mind, how we think and what we think. If you're like some people I know, okay, I have some friends, some people who used to work for me, and we were extremely close. We had a great relationship. But they retired, just like I retired, and they live way over there. And they watch this news, they read these newspapers, they have these friends, and they are in their bubble, just like I'm in my own little bubble. But it used to be that we would interact with each other, we would go to lunch with each other, we would talk to each other, and we didn't have the same kind of divisions that we have now. Because one thing that you have to do when you get out of the workplace or out of education, you have to find a way to stay active. You have to find a way to stay involved, to do things with other people. You can't just sit at home and watch TV. Have you guys seen what they show on TV for old folks? It is terrible. All day long, game shows, a couple of soap operas. Every commercial is about how you're about to die, and we got some new medicine. It only has 50,000, shortcomings and side effects, but you need to take it. Everything is like that. And you don't want to just be sitting at home in your own little bubble going through just that. You will get depressed. You will feel disconnected. You'll be stressed out. You'll be fearful. Even now, because I don't drive back and forth to Dallas every day for work like I used to, I get scared when I get on that highway. I'm just not quite up to it. My reflexes aren't the same. So you have to stay involved, stay in shape. And that's what I'm saying. In your life, you have to, even as you get older, find a purpose, okay? Now some of y'all know Naora, okay? Now, Naora just retired. And she has a group of friends, and some of y'all are in here. And they go out, and she's an actress now. They perform. I mean, they go read these plays to these old people, and they applaud, and she has a purpose, has something to do. And all of us need to have that. That's something to do. Now that I've retired and gotten a little older, you know what? I've got more time, more money, and better health than I had ever before. Part of it is because of cause and effect, okay? If you plant the right seeds, you're going to get a good plant, okay? But even at 70, I get up and run 5 miles a day, okay? Now, I couldn't do that just starting, but I did it because I've always been doing it. I get a chance to go speak or do storytelling all month long, all the time. And I can get paid or not get paid. But because I find something that's just my purpose, something for me to do that keeps me excited, some reason to get up in the morning. People will tell you I do more work now than I did when I actually had a job and got paid for it. Because it's important to stay involved, stay connected. What really happens, I think, is that whole age thing that we're concerned about, it happens forever. And so forever we have to worry about it. And forever we're on that spiritual journey. And forever we have to always be concerned about our health and our wealth and our finances and our purpose in life and doing something and staying involved. Because I really do think if you sit around there too long and don't get involved and don't give back to other people, okay, don't become active, I think what happens is, like I said, hey, we got one down there. Looks like Steve's not too excited about life no more. Oh, no. Remember 10 or 15 years ago, he was so enthusiastic. He was so excited about everything. Look at him now. He just sits in the corner. He's drooling. He's not doing anything. Oh, let's check him on out of here. We've got room for somebody else. Well, that may not be how it really happens, but you guys get my drift, right? It's important for us to stay active, stay involved in life. I'm really blessed that I've got great examples of people who've done that for me and done it in my life. And the other thing, too, is I noticed that when you focus on something, it pops up all along. So while I was focusing on this aging thing for the last month and a half, man, the things that started popping up. I can tell you guys hundreds of people that did great things at all types of ages, okay? But what I want you to do is I want you to start thinking about how you age, how you grow, your spiritual journey. So they'll start popping up in your life, and you'll start seeing those examples. The examples, like Colonel Sanders, who started at 65 and started frying chicken then. There's a lady who, I don't know if you saw the Black Panther, but the great-grandmother, the old grandmother, there's a lady who started acting at age 85. And now she's doing that. I read about a lady named Dilly Price. She has the Guinness Book of Records for skydiving. She started skydiving at 81, and she's done it 1,000 sometimes, and she's now 85 years old, okay? There are tons and tons of examples of people out there that are not scared of aging, that are not scared of doing something different, that are enjoying that spiritual journey. And we all can do it. So whether you might have some health challenges now, or maybe things aren't all going your way, or maybe you can't think of a good purpose, just know that that's something for you to investigate. Keep digging for it. And it doesn't have to be anything big that you do. My thing is, Here's what I do, okay? And then I'm going to end, okay? I had a real mental thing with getting older. And one of the mental, because I handle the physical stuff pretty cool, okay? But the mental thing, I got these young guys I know, like my young fraternity brothers and young people in my life. These kids, they do great. They come out of college making 6 figures and stuff. They're doing great things on their job. If I could go this far in my job, they go this far in their job. They're doing just great, fantastic things. They got big, big houses. They cost twice as much as my house costs. And I look at these youngsters, and sometimes I get really jealous, you know, and wish that I could have had some of those chances, wish that I could have had some of those opportunities, wish that it could have been me. Because when I was coming through, some things were a little different. Some people didn't get a chance to go as far as they go now. And things just were not the same. But when I see that, I had to find a different way of looking at it. So when I see young people now doing things, advancing and doing great things, I pat them on the back. I think it's great that seeing that they're doing the new inventions that they come up with, the new technologies, I think it is fantastic. And I applaud them for it, because it keeps me from being that grouchy old guy who sits on the park bench and watches the world go by. I don't want to be that one. Now, the flip side of that is, like I said, the paradox. I got a house. My house is paid for. You hear me? I don't have no credit card bills. You hear me? You cannot get a house paid for unless you live a certain amount of time. You can't learn about credit unless you live a certain amount of time. There's a lot of good things that come with aging. All that money I've been saving all my life, now I get to spend it. Now I've got more time. Baby, you know, this aging thing is really pretty cool. And when you think about it, guys, look, right now, average is we retire at 65, okay? It's getting to the point where we're all gonna live to be 100 years old, which means for a third of our life, we kind of learn and figure out how to get this thing down, and we get into our 30s, and we live the next third raising kids and doing all that kind of stuff. And then we got a third of our life to do nothing. We just chill. That's pretty cool. So if you plan it right, work it right, from your 60s to 100 can be cool. I don't believe that longevity equals sickness. I just don't think so. My goal is to be healthy, 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 dead. Okay? I do not want to be going down here to healthy, healthy, dead. Well, we just saw him out running just yesterday. Yeah, healthy, healthy, dead. Well, he was just at the party last night. Healthy, healthy, dead. Well, we just saw him speaking. He was dressed all clean and everything. No, healthy, healthy, dead, okay? And I take it that you guys would like that goal also. So, hey, guys, you know, I love coming to Unity. And I really, I'm so grateful that Reverend Ann trusts me with you and trusts that I'll come up with a subject that'll be good for you as well as good for me, because I really need to know some stuff about aging. And I really did feel like it's not for cowards. And I needed to see the spiritual journey. And knowing I was going to come to you guys and come to speak with you forced me to be able to look at myself differently and find out new things about myself. So now I don't see it as such a scary thing. I see it more as a spiritual journey, something that's exciting, you know, something to look forward to. And we all got issues up and down as we go along that. But the good thing is, you know, it's going to be all right. Because they always say that if in the end it's going to be okay, and if it's not okay, it's not the end. Life is pretty cool. Hey, guys, with that, I'm out of here, and live, okay? Live, and don't be scared. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Thanks.